Hello. Hello everyone. Today we will continue to look at the content of HCIA Cloud Computing. Previously, we have already introduced topics such as the history of virtualization, the history of cloud computing, and some basic characteristics of cloud computing. Next, we will specifically introduce the types of services that cloud computing offers. Including some of our deployment models. First, let's take a look at the types of services in cloud computing. First, as you can see, there are many things in the PPT, right? Quite a lot. It looks a bit overwhelming, doesn't it? So here, first of all, let's briefly summarize for everyone. The main types of services are divided into three categories. The main service types are divided into three categories. You can take a look at our current overall structure from bottom to top. First, the first one. At the very bottom, we have network resources. This includes storage, computing, and virtualization up to this point. These four types of resources are actually the foundation of our virtualization. Well, through virtualization, various virtualization software integrates all our physical resources together up to this point. This section is equivalent to our first type. This is our infrastructure as a service, abbreviated as, yes, this type. One of its characteristics is that we only provide users with basic services. Actually, mainly what we have is just our system, primarily our system. Common services include our cloud servers. Of course, different vendors might have different names. Some call it EC2, some call it ECS, some call it Elastic Cloud Server, and so on. There are many names, but overall, the type is essentially the same, which is a regular server on the cloud. After purchasing it on these platforms, we can directly use this virtual machine, which has a public IP. You can directly connect remotely, or you can also perform operations while on the platform. You can connect using VNC. All are possible. This is our first type, infrastructure as a service. This is actually equivalent to, when we need to, build a house. The provider or supplier is like giving us the land, the building materials, and some resources, but nothing else. As for the rest, we as users need to build the house ourselves on these resources, install the operating system, including middleware and runtime environments, etc. Of course, if it's current cloud services, they generally provide us with what? They provide us with a system, which is usually pre-installed. However, here you can also reset the system, or switch to different system versions. Here, this is our first type, infrastructure as a service, which means there's nothing, it's equivalent to just a cloud server. This is our infrastructure as a service. Normally, of course, if we strictly speak about infrastructure, it actually doesn't include a system, meaning there's no operating system. However, if you buy a server without a system, users can't use it directly, right? Furthermore, our users are actually quite far from the cloud computing, right? The vendor's data center is very far away, and it's not feasible for you to go to the data center to install a system and then come back. So, although in IaaS, there is this infrastructure as a service part, and although we don't have an operating system, generally, in some of our public cloud services, these vendors will directly install the system for us, and it's generally pre-installed. Of course, you can also change the system yourself later on. You can switch it freely. Most systems are free and can be changed at will. This is one of our services. The first type is IaaS, infrastructure as a service. Now let's look at the second type, moving up to include the system, middleware, and runtime environment. The bottom three and the bottom four are still there, so from bottom to top, there are a total of 7. These 7 together, because our 7th one has already reached the runtime environment step. Here we generally call it platform as a service, or PaaS. This platform level service is, the abbreviation is PaaS. It is because the platform provides infrastructure For example, besides servers, there is storage, network, virtualization resources. This is added to the infrastructure. Our application deployment environment, such as operating systems, middleware, and runtime environments. It's like having the environment all prepared for you. So what is this? This is a platform level service of PaaS. It's equivalent to taking a step further from our infrastructure. It's like we are developers. Hey, the framework of the house has already been set up for us, including some infrastructure like water and electricity pipelines, etc., which are all ready. Hey, what do we users need to do? Hey, we just need to renovate it ourselves, for example, by decorating it, just redecorate the house, and it can be used normally. It's like we only need to focus on our own service, on a specific application, and that's it. This kind of approach actually has certain limitations. Why are there limitations? It's because it has already set up our environment, meaning we can only use this one environment. We can only operate within this one environment. Here, it's equivalent to saying that the degree of freedom is not as high as the previous one. So, in terms of freedom, actually, the previous one has a very high degree of freedom. Why? Because there, it only has the basic system. As users, we can actually install any service within the system, but when it comes to PaaS, well, that's not possible. This is because the environment has already been set up for you, and the middleware and software services are also pre-installed. Then generally, our providers, the providers of our cloud products, usually just. We'll give you a method to connect, a connection method or a management platform. In this case, we cannot see the system, right? We cannot see the operating system, and you cannot install other services. You can only use this one service and manage any content related to it. However, you cannot do anything else, which makes it relatively more convenient and easier to use. For a specific service, but the level of freedom is not as high as before. IaaS, which stands for Infrastructure as a Service, provides us with a platform, offering our service platform that we can use directly. It is relatively more convenient. And then the last type, where the data and applications are all deployed for you, offering an all-in-one service directly in place. Users don't need to do anything. They can just use it directly. Users don't need to do anything. For example, let's take a look at many of the online office software available now. Online office software includes some online documents, and so on. These are typical SaaS applications, which are our software as a service, meaning we can use them directly. We can use them directly. Applications, data, and everything are available. Of course, at least you need to register an account. And with an account, you can directly use the software and services. What is this? This is our 3 different types of services. Actually, the main difference is, well, what does our cloud platform provider offer you? Which parts of the service? When it comes to infrastructure, actually, it only provides up to what? Only up to the operating system level. At most, they install the operating system for you and then provide it to you. Afterwards, you can install whatever you want. With PaaS, they set up the services for you, and the basic environment is prepared for you. So you can only use this type of service. As for the service, of course, the management of the service, some configurations, these still need to be done by yourself, including the storage of some data, which you are also responsible for. It's not yet particularly self-sufficient. Not particularly this. This convenience is not particularly convenient yet. As for SaaS, all resources, all software, all services, everything is prepared for you, and you can just start using it directly. These are our 3 different types of services. Among these 3, none is better or worse. It depends on your needs. If you need to install a system, then you use IaaS. If you need a ready-made environment that's a bit more convenient, you use PaaS. If you don't want to manage anything and just want to use and enjoy it directly, then you can use SaaS. It doesn't matter. All 3 exist, and there's no saying which is better or worse. It just depends on different people's needs. This is the basic service model of our cloud computing. Alright, if anyone wants to learn Huawei technology or wants to obtain the Huawei certification question bank, please send me a private message. You can also leave a comment below the video for technical exchanges. Okay, that's it for today, everyone.